Hello, I'm here. Can everyone hear me? We got good sound here. Just a quick test. Hello, my name's Ashley Thomas. I'm here with Uptown Avenue 7, and we're going to get started in a few minutes. I see some of my speakers here. So you guys, I'm excited to learn today. Everyone who's here, I hope you're excited to learn. This is an area in which my company wants to grow. A lot of small businesses want to grow. What is NFTs? What is the metaverse? Do we really need to care about it? And how is it going to change, our economy and impact us? So, there's lots of communities that prepare themselves. I know I said to someone, like, urban planning is usually a 30-year plan. So when you start to see those changes in your community happening, typically someone's already planned that. The city has already planned that 30 years in advance. And so we need to start planning early too, right? Getting ourselves ready for those things. All right, all my speakers are here. We're going to go ahead and get started. So again, my name is Ashley Thomas. I am one of the co-founders of Muse. Today we are here representing Uptown Avenue 7. Muse is the company that manages and produces the Uptown Avenue 7 Arts and Culture Festival, which happens November 12th this year from 12 to 7 p.m. Let's talk a little bit about Uptown and do a few intros to the folks who are here. Uptown Avenue 7 is a part of the Northwest 7th Avenue CRA. And if you haven't heard what a CRA is, it's essentially a community redevelopment agency. They are, I'm going to say, a best kept secret, but those who know. So now you know about them if you hadn't known before. They're government entities that take tax dollars from the entire county or entire municipality space, and they place them in the area that they want to see developed. And typically these areas are places in their own definition of blight and kind of poverty. It's been underdeveloped, or a lot of the economy has left those areas. And we say essentially is usually the hood, right? Areas where you go, like, the crime rate is a little high. They don't have a lot of economic viability. Businesses are not there. There are agencies, CRAs, that are placed in these areas to make them, grow. And it's not only in the hood. Miami Beach has a CRA. Okay, there's areas that you go, what? Why do you have a CRA? Because it's specific pockets where it needs to be developed. And so the taxpayers are actually making sure that their city gets developed. So it's important, especially because all of us as businesses are taxpayers, that you actually know how to benefit from these things. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that before we get into NFTs, but I want to give an opportunity to thank our host site. So I'm going to actually let my camera be seen, and Kaylin's there. Perfect. Abby's Adult Daycare Center is our host site for today. So everyone who's virtual, we're here on this world. Everyone who's in person is there. And I just wanted to know if Alex was there and able to just come and speak a little bit about Abby's Daycare. It is on the Northwest 7th Avenue corridor and is one of our grant recipients for Uptown Avenue 7. So if Alex is there and wants to go ahead and shout out Abby's and how we can find them and what kind of services they provide, we'd love to hear about it.
Yes, Abby is here. Yes, Abby is here, but give her about 2 seconds to come over. You heard me?
Yes, perfect. So I'm going to remove my pin. Kaylin, I've pinned your pin. So if Abby can actually if Alice can actually sit where you are, Kaylin, so the folks online can see them as well, that'd be perfect. And while we're waiting for Abby, which is our host site, I want to thank one of our sponsors today, which is United Healthcare. United Healthcare is an insurance company that makes sure we get what we need. You heard of AARP. They are partnered with AARP. So if you're 56 plus, you can get those benefits. We know the 56 plus is hipsters and they love doing good things. They got money to do great things as well. Well, you want to make sure you're safe and you're insured as well as, we age and we become more wise. So you can look out at United Healthcare, find out any of their plans, look at your service providers if you get that kind of things through your work, and see what United Healthcare has to offer. They actually do sponsor our arts experience at the festival that we have on November 12th as well. And is that my friend Ray? Is that Alex? All right. So that is our sponsor for today. And I want to go ahead and just turn it over to Alex of Abby's Daycare. Let us know how long you've been on the corridor. What is your daycare and what kind of services you provide to the community?
Sure. Hi, how are you? My name is Alex Lee, the owner of Abby's Adult Daycare. So what we do is that we take care of seniors especially seniors that live at home or they live alone and they need assistance with with daily activities, or if the family has to they have to work, they have to go to school. There's other things that they could do, but they can't manage mom and dad at home or grandma. Then we provide activities here at the center. We provide breakfast, lunch. We do many activities for them. We provide transportation. And there's many other things that we do. Right now, they're at the other end of the facility, and they're getting ready to have breakfast and play bingo. But we've been here for 4 years. The center is run by my wife and myself. We are both retired nurses, and my wife is also a physical therapist. So we did many years at the in the hospital setting. I've worked at many hospitals in the area over 20 years. Decided to open up a center here because it was needed in this community, and so that's where we're at the. Anytime you want to come by, give us a call, or you can come by anytime and look at the facility, and we'd be more than happy to help you and try to help you with getting. Usually the members, they need an insurance called long-term care, which is provided by Medicaid. As long as you have Medicaid, you have full Medicaid. We can try to assist you or give you a number on how to get the long-term care, which is needed, and you get a lot of benefits with that. A lot of folks don't know about the long-term care, but it's something that we can help you with.
That's great. And what's the age? So in long-term care, is there like an age specificity for the clients that you work with?
No, they basically it's handled by the Department of Elder Affairs.
Okay.
But as long as you're an adult over 18, we have a couple of members here that are in their 20s, but they're disabled and they have full Medicaid, so they were awarded the long-term care. And so in one particular case, the mom works, and we pick them up in the morning, we take care of them, and and then we're going to bring it back in the afternoon by the time she gets home. But it's definitely if you have full Medicaid, you can qualify, you can apply for the long-term care, and then at that point they decide if you qualify or not. But like I said, we'd be more than happy to help you. As long as you have the full Medicaid, you're halfway there.
That's great, Abby. So tell us, how could we find you online, or a number we could call to connect with your services?
Sure. We have a website. It's abby'sadultdaycare.com. And our phone number is 786-360-5346. Once again, 786-360-5346.
Thank you so.
So I'm sorry. We're right here in Uptown on the corridor. We're on 88th Street and Northwest 7th Avenue.
All right, I'm putting that in the chat for everyone here. And this is Alex. I called you Abby, right? It's Alex, correct?
Alex, yeah.
That's right. So Alex and Abby make this happen. These are services that we need in our community. We are so grateful that you found Uptown as your place, to abode, to serve the community. Everyone, all of the details are in the chat. So if you want to get in touch again with Abby's Daycare, that's abby'sadultdaycare.com. The number is 786-360-5346. Share with your family, let them know that this service is available, and this is being recorded, so we will also share with all of our patrons and in our newsletter and items like that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alex. All right, and anyone who's there in person, make sure you grab a donut and some coffee there as well. So let's get right into it. Before we bring our guest up, I just want to go a little bit back and talk about our CRA. So our CRA is actually sponsored by the Northwest 7th Avenue CRA is actually sponsored by your county commissioners. We reside in District 2 mostly, a little bit in District 3 as well, but a lot in District 2. So Commissioner Jean Monestime has been at the forefront of making sure that our Northwest 7th Avenue corridor and arts and culture is activated. So why Uptown? It is in the center of Miami-Dade County. So when you go between 79th Street all the way up to the Golden Glades on Northwest 7th Avenue, there's a big redevelopment plan for this area. And so what this CRA is doing, it's very much community-led, community businesses, just like ourselves, making sure that the area is actually developed. There are grants provided by this CRA. Every CRA doesn't have funding all the time. Maybe they have a little bit of staff to do city planning, but this one does have funding that goes back to the businesses. And so businesses can get up to 3 different grants, and you can visit uptownavenue7.com to understand their grant process. You have to be on the Northwest 7th Avenue corridor, or you need to have a lease to that you're going to be moving in, saying you're going to be moving in the corridor within our boundaries. So a lot of people go, well, I want money to help me move, or I want you to help me find a lease. The CRA does not do that. It is to help businesses who are already on the go. We all know how stressful it is to run a business. So it's here to just provide you that support. There's a grant to help with innovation, renovation of your space. So if you got a space and you go, oh, it needs new electricity, it needs the roof, things like that, the CRA can do that. It helps with technology and equipment. So they have an equipment grant as well. And then any major or minor improvements to facade that needs to happen. If you're leasing your space, that money goes directly to your landlord to do those developments, but is going to benefit you as a tenant. So you can visit uptownavenue7.com to learn more about those grants if you're on Northwest 7th Avenue, or you can also visit and give a call to get a consultation with the Northwest 7th Avenue CRA's Economic Development Coordinator to find out where to move in ideal ways to get that done. I talked about those grants. You can see the names here that actually handle them. Our grant administrator is through Neighbors and Neighbors Association, and Robert Jones is the manager for those grants. So rjones@nanafl.org would be how you actually start your application, but you can also get those applications right at uptownavenue7.com. And I'm going to actually repin myself here as well, so you can see me there. And let's see the next one. I just wanted, before we get into the talk that we came to talk about, I want to also just let people know that we have some events that are coming up on the corridor. So we have the Northside Police Open House for Halloween. So I want you guys to start getting involved if you're not already on what's happening in your county and in your area. There's development happening. We see it all over South Florida. It is also happening in these neighborhoods, and you blink and go, whoa, nothing was like this before. It changed so fast. It is not changing fast. It's gradually and over time, and you're seeing the result of that gradually and over time. So get in now, because that's what's happening right now with Northwest 7th Avenue. So there's an open house with the police station for your families from 3 to 7, October 27th. It's free for the entire family. Can come, you can trick or treat, you can first harvest. If you don't trick or treat, grab some candy, learn about services. I know we think about police, it's like, oh, they only safeguard the community, or, you know, other things, but there's so much more that the police actually do in your community. There's community affairs. There's ways to get in touch and learn about those services, and they'll be telling you about them at the station for that day. There'll be a pumpkin patch and painting. And again, like lots of candy, so we can hype the kids up and send them home with you, okay? And then we have a Breaking the Cycle ride. So not only are we like about safety and community, we also have like fun and fitness on our corridor. So Breaking the Cycle is a great community organization if you want to learn about cycling, you've never done it, or you are an avid cyclist. It's a fun group, and we'll be doing their happy hour ride, which is for beginner riders, or, you know, people doing recovery rides on November 4th. So that'll be happening November 4th. And the meetup is at Bravo's Supermarket. And if you like these slides, just go ahead and let me know. We will also email them to you. It's usually an evening ride, so you need your lights and your helmet. You do need to have a bike to actually participate in this ride. And of course, one of the highlights that I want to put up here is our festival that's happening. Our Uptown Avenue 7 festival is on its way here, and we want to make sure that all of you are going to be there. It's a huge lineup this year. It's our 5th year producing it. 7th Avenue is growing, and you're going to feel that growth there. It is free, so there's no problem or no barrier for you to show up with your friends and family Saturday, November 12th from 12 to 7 p.m. It's at our Cola Lakes Library Plaza. It's one of your most beautiful libraries if you've never been there. So we want to make sure you go there. Our headliners are Sunshine Anderson. We've done it all before. I know you know her. T. Ray, who was a new up and coming artist. She is from South Florida, currently in Atlanta. So she's coming home to perform with us. You know, you'll know that you saw her on stage here first. Raheem Devon, Michael Sterling. And then we have Winston World's Karaoke. So there's a $2,000 cash prize for all of those who love to sing a little bit like myself. You know, I try to show that voice off a little bit. I'm not a singer, I do it in the shower, but I might win $2,000. Well, I can't win it, but you could win $2,000 that day for a good time with Winston World's Karaoke. I want to remind everyone that all of these items that we're talking about is presented by Commissioner Jean Monestime, the Northwest 7th Avenue CRA, and managed and produced by Muse, the Muse 305. All right, so let's jump into this, what we are here for. All right, so we are here to learn a little bit more about the metaverse, yes, and NFT. So I'm gonna actually stop sharing, and I'm like, Meta, what? I hear this all the time. I'm gonna stop my share so we can actually pin my speakers, and my speakers can turn on their camera really quickly. I'm Alexia here, and everyone else can be there. We are trying to figure out what is the metaverse, why it matters, and who should it matter to, and if there's things that we should understand as business owners about it. So I'm representing Muse 3, like I am here for Uptown, but the arts production company Muse that hello Bo, how are you doing? That actually, produces the festival. We're all into arts. We're an arts organization. And sometimes people hear NFTs and go, oh, okay, well, it's just for graphic artists. Is that just what it's for? And so we're here to figure out who it's for, what it's for, and why it's happening. So I'm going to go ahead and have my speakers actually introduce themselves so you can get to know a little bit more about them before we get started. And I call you Bo, but you want me Don Dada, so I'm going to go by your art name because it's just so lyrical, it falls right off the tongue. So I want to go ahead and start with Don Dada. If you could just introduce yourself, where you're from, what you do as an artist.
Sure, no problem. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Bonita Thompson, but I go by the artist name Don Dada. I'm a augmented reality digital artist from Jamaica. So all of my work is inspired by Caribbean culture, Jamaican culture. It's made for the diaspora, like it's very cultural. And the pieces, like I focus on making works that are just super immersive. It's like the artworks literally leap out of the canvas on you, or you're walking into it, Yeah, I'm also an NFT artist, so I have a Soul Out Genesis collection, and I have another collection on Super Rare, and I'm doing a few art shows this year. So that, in a nutshell, like that's me.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Don Dada. And we're going to speak more on all of that because all of us want to know what it is happening. So the artist, they get to know these things a little bit sooner, and then the businesses were like, wait, what happened now? And so we're so excited to learn. I want to go ahead and turn it over to Alexia, who's a brand strategist. Alexia James, if you could tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are, and yourself as a brand strategist.
Sure. So hi, everybody. Good morning. So I'm Alexia. So in terms of brand strategists, of course, my background is in marketing, digital marketing specifically. And then in terms of the world of NFTs, as we mentioned, it's not just artists, it's businesses. So how you market your NFT project for it to be sold and for it to be successful is equally as important as just like the overall tech side and understanding like the different integral facets of it. So that's where I come in. And even when you see bigger brands adapt it, the same thing, because you recently saw like Starbucks come in, and last year you'd have seen like the Nikes and the Adidas of the world come in terms of taking advantage of this space and this new technological thing that's happening. So that's where your marketing, and even though you have the artist side, everything still comes about as a business and need to be able to communicate that to your consumer and your audience. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alexia. And I want to bring my friend Kaylin of Pantheon Entertainment Group. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and Pantheon?
Hi, Ashley. Good morning, guys, and good morning, everyone. I represent Pantheon. I created the company about 2 years ago, and essentially it's an artist-to-consumer platform. We represent artists, but we also try to bring a new experience to consumers, and how that fits in with today is we're bringing the metaverse to everyday people, and like today, educating people on what it means and how to use it and experience it in different ways.
Nice. And then I think your company also does like music technology and artist management as well.
Yeah, so we do production in general and everything that falls underneath it. So it's entertainment as well as digital art, as well as artist representation, management, stuff like that. Artists like Don Dada, who are in the space that want to be free to roam, but also understand how to move in the realm and stuff like that. Be free to create, but also with integrity. That's what we're trying to represent and we're trying to bring to artists as well.
I love it. All right. So you guys, we have a powerhouse of knowledge here today, and I'm going to make sure that we get those questions out to them so you all can take some of this knowledge and then know how to apply it. So I'm going to start with what the heck is the metaverse anyway? I'm going to start that question to Kaylin, because we hear it and all I think about is VR goggles and people like running around playing.
That's right. That's right. Well, just think about it like this. The universe is multiple things. The universe is multiple things. The metaverse is multiple VR realities. So when you have multiple people enjoying one reality at once that was augmented, maybe by Don Dada or someone else, or when you have different platforms interacting with one platform, all in the virtual world, you call that the metaverse. So Facebook has a famous one right now. That's basically all Facebook data is uploaded into this platform. And it becomes a metaverse because you have, 1 billion, 2 billion users all using it at the same time.
Has anyone else played? Has anyone of our panelists played in the metaverse recently or anything like that? Yay, nay? How do we play in the metaverse? How do I even get in there? What is the access or entry point into that?
Well, there are different technologies that can kind of initiate you into the process of experiencing it. Oculus is a really good program to use. They have goggles, stuff like that. But really, I think education on how to go about it is the key, and as long as you know your intention behind it, you'll be able to be comfortable in your space and use the tools that are given in that space. So I would say what's most important is your intention behind how you plan on using it, because that's when business comes in, that's when structuring your ideas come in, that's when gathering and building communities come in, is what your actual intention is behind the tools that are given.
So I am an arts production company and I have a gallery in my physical space at the Muse campus. And I want to showcase, or let's go for the Uptown Avenue 7 Festival. We have an art experience there and I want to be able to showcase this to 2 billion people who are not at the festival. How would I make that happen in the metaverse?
So essentially, we'd have to upload this space, whatever space it is, Uptown in this example, and it would be uploaded to that database to be shared amongst their users. Those things require contracts and business stuff, alliances, but usually where we're at in the space that we're at now, we can build our own communities and we can kind of fight for space in the virtual world to be allowed to have a space in the metaverse and other big platforms like Facebook and stuff like that.
Lord, Kayla, you said fight. Is all of it always going to be a fight for us? This is a real question, or is this going to democratize a little, like in the mind, democratizing, or is it still just, is it still a challenge and a corporate fight?
Well, I'll say for everyone that's listening, nothing's new under the sun. Everything that we've been fighting for is going to continue to go on. And we have to kind of assert ourselves in the space. And that's going to never change. A good example is Instagram and the algorithms and all that stuff, that came in, and it's the same type of methodology over and over again, if that makes sense. So we have to kind of get on the horse and tame it before it gets into that space, the Web3 space, the metaverse space, so we can have a real footprint.
Oh, I like that. So Kaylin said we have to get on the horse and tame it early, right? So this is us attempting to give you all the knowledge to do that. I want to go to Don Dada real quickly to talk a little bit about how you got into NFT art. So you talked about graphic and augmented reality. Did you start there and then NFT showed up and you go like, this is my realm? Like, what was the progression as an artist into this digital space?
Well, I've been making art for a long time. I really was a graphic designer for a while, so I kind of approach it from that background. So it's really a case where at a certain point I just got really curious into like how to make my work different and just how to bring like a new level of engagement to the pieces. That was how the AR stuff came about. In terms of the NFT aspect of it, it really did just make sense to do it as NFTs. Being an artist, NFTs gives you royalty on your work. Especially as a digital artist, it's a way to bring value and kind of put that collector item to it, because previously If you're a digital artist, how you would make your money from that art directly is by selling prints, right? Like limited edition prints. And then from there, anybody can just go and just download the image and say it's theirs. With NFTs, it's a little different. Like, yeah, people can still download it and whatever, but it being on the blockchain gives it credibility in a way. It gives it like makes it so that nobody can ever edit, steal, or copy. It's a way of showing the provenance of your work, which for art collectors is important. So as a digital artist, it just made sense because it answered all of those questions. Plus, it also kind of created like I want to say marketplace. Several marketplaces. So it created a marketplace in the sense that like people who buy your work, they can resell. So it gives it that trading concept. So getting into NFTs really did just make sense, and it was a matter of like perfect timing, because last year I had an art show, like some AR pieces, and because the pieces already spoke about culture, spoke about community, which are two like main values of the NFT space. Then it connected tech with the AR aspect. It just flowed into the NFT side of it. Got onto Foundation, which is one of the marketplaces that you can mint your work. I was able to put a team together around me. So work with Alexia, work with another collector on the drop itself. Was able to sell 10 pieces, the entire collection, in like 5 weeks, which a lot of persons are in the NFT space for a while and not able to make any sales. And it really it's still the business of art. It's not like a silver bullet, like you're just gonna do it and be rich. It still requires like you being a real person, you interacting with people, you communicating your story through your work. And yeah, now I'm on Foundation with another collection of pieces. And it's really a thing where like for digital artists or just artists in general, whether you paint, you make music, you're a poet, you can still make your work as NFTs and start to build a space around it. Don't think of NFTs as a like it's gonna be the cure for all of your artistic problems. It still requires a lot of work, but it is a new form of technology where like in the future you're gonna wonder why you never did it before.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit more? That was really good. And I think you summed it up, because I was like, that sounds like management. That sounds like marketing. That sounds like still the business of it. And you literally said it's like everyone, there's no way to get around the work. Oh, this is a testimony right now. There's no way to get around the work. It has to be done, no matter what. Can you talk a little bit about the Foundation platform? So we hear about NFTs, and if anyone can say what an NFT is, I'm going to say non-fungible token. Is that correct? Non-fungible token. So it's a digital token, right?
It's a digital collectible.
A digital collectible. So if NFTs are a digital collectible, I love that. So let's put those words together. And you talked about a platform people could use, Foundation. Can you speak about that platform a little bit more and why you chose that one versus other ones to work through?
So there are actually like a number of platforms that you can use to mint your work. And it's really just a matter of you as an artist, like figuring out which space makes sense for you. Each platform kind of have like a different set of audience, and each platform are built for different things. So, God, I don't remember the name of it right now, but there's a platform that's just made for music. So you as a musician, like mint your work there, persons would know, oh, this is what I'm gonna get. With Foundation at the time, it had, well, it still does, it's a space for artists, like fine art, one-of-one NFTs, great community around them. So at the time, it really did just make sense for them. Plus the thing is that it kind of started to grow like a real niche following. To be on there, you had to get an invite. And at the time, like a Foundation invite was coveted, like, you know what I mean? But Foundation is one space that you can mint on. You can also mint on OpenSea, that is public to everyone. You don't need any invite or anything. You can literally go on there and create an account faster than you would create a Facebook account, and just get set up. You will, to get into NFTs, you will need a wallet. So think of your wallet as like your actual wallet that you store money in. That's how you would store your cryptocurrency. All right. So MetaMask is a great wallet to use, especially for in the Caribbean where our banking regulations don't really catch up to things yet.
Mhm.
We don't have as much access here. So that is a wallet that works. Yeah, so you need your wallet to connect to your marketplace, right? So like Foundation, OpenSea. There's also Super Rare, where you can mint works as well. But yeah, so once you mint on your marketplace, and that's how you're able to just sell your pieces and start to kind of grow your collections from there.
I love it. I love it. So I hope you all are learning just as much as I am. There are different wallets for different things. I mean, different platforms for different interests. And I love that NFT is a digital collectible. And you're going to be wondering why you didn't get into it. So basically, we're all going to go to school together around this. We have people here to teach us what to do. I'm going to push it to Alexia. I have a question for you because we're talking about art. Thank you, Dondada. That was so much rich, valuable information. And I have a brand strategist here because we're saying, you know, we actually did mint an NFT. And then it went, well, what do we do now? Like, what do we do now with this? So Alexia, we talked about the business and we talked about strategy. I have two questions for you. One, like if I'm a small business and I don't have the capacity to build a team, or I'm an individual artist, you know, or a small creator, I don't have a marketing budget to build a team. What are some things that, you know, you could say, here are some simple steps you could take to include this into your, I guess, portfolio of things that you offer, and like just the basic plan to get those things moving? Or is there no basic plan and we need to get a strategist?
Sure. So in terms of including it in your portfolio, I would say first just identify if it's something that'll be valuable to your business versus just doing something because it's the trendy or hip thing to do. Because if you can't execute something and you don't have the budget to do it, there's no point running yourself red to do something and then it doesn't have any direct benefit to you. So that would be the first thing I actually say to any small business or creator. And then to say if you are a creator who's an artist or illustrator or whatever, somebody who can create an NFT in an artistic medium to put it on a platform, and you want to get it out there and you may not be able to pay somebody, it's just like lean on your community. Because the thing about just like the NFT or just Web3 space is that community is really the driving force for all projects right now. So even in terms of the bear market being crypto being at a low versus what it was last year, which was just everything was up and green, is that community has been the biggest push for projects to sell out and all these different things versus just you go into it and just that's it. So it's a case of it's not really how Web2 is, Web2 being the current internet and just social media platforms. It's really more about how are my collectors feeling? What do my collectors want? And more thinking about the end user first versus what you were trying to achieve as well. So there was like a project example called Goblins, and they did a free mint being that it was no cost to get their NFTs before it went to secondary markets. And people just ate up. And the main like wow facts about it was just that like, it was just kind of nerdy guys, the gens in Twitter spaces, just like talking in goblin voices for the entire time, like just having a good time. And that's what drove that project forward, like just the entertainment of it all and just the fun of it all, you get me? And I think that's what we're missing. And that's what a lot of smaller creators, and then of course Black creators we're missing, is like that community. And I see it all the time at like the African NFT communities, like they always driving themselves, but in terms of just like other minority communities, especially Black minority communities, you don't see a lot of consistent just community on like Twitter, just like other social platforms around this. So I think that's something we could be a lot better at, because if we're supporting each other and you're able to purchase like a work from Bonito or work from somebody else, that's driving the project forward, that's driving the longevity of it forward, you know. So it's really leaning on your community. And even to say like, you have a community, but nobody has a wallet, take any time to just sit down with like a few people who are interested in helping them set up their wallet, because then they will be loyalists to you and then they would also purchase your NFT or your works. So it's really looking at the community at the forefront of everything. And that's why a lot of those big brands, they don't really come in as themselves. They come in on projects that already exist, that already have communities, versus just like coming in a space and then they fail, which has happened before with brands that would come in. So it's really to look at how can your community support you? How can you support your community through utility being benefits, being like if it's products, if it's classes, to just really help, because really the user is now at the forefront in terms of NFTs, because you're purchasing this thing because you want to make money off of it to probably flip it later down, or you want to get utility off of it to just continue getting benefits from it. But it's no longer you're buying something and then the benefits of it is done, but how does the benefit continue for me as a collector? So that really has to be the thought process, like when creating anything, and not just, okay, you mint it and that's it. So
I have a follow-up question to that. Thank you for that. So like we're hearing it, like you have to think about the end user first and what the resource is, why you're doing this. And I think something that you said super important is like, yes, is it the time for you to do it? Of course, you want to understand the technology, but maybe it's something you put on the wish list, or you create a plan around to integrate into your business, not today because it's trendy, but within the next year or two, like just with the plan. So that's what I'm hearing from you. What other benefits, because you said it, I'm like, yeah, we minted it, we want to make a return, we want to be able to flip it. What other benefits should NFT provide to that end user that makes it attractive for them to want to even get into it or invest in it?
So I know that Bonita's probably like, gosh, he hates utility, because I know as the artist, you just want your art to be its own utility. But in terms of other benefits, there's a lot of different things. So even if you look at just the shirt that you have on right now, imagine that shirt allowed you to go to an Uptown festival this year and next year in terms of utility. Imagine it allowed, if these sessions were paid, it's allowed you access to these sessions for like 6 months or 3 months. So every single thing that you do that can be monetized can be a utility added on to your NFT. So when you look at it from that perspective, it kind of becomes simpler. So a lot of the bigger projects or more successful projects, like when they have limited drops with bigger brands, like there was a project that did something, I think it was BFF, and they had like cookies and stuff that they did with this brand, and then they sent it to all of their holders in terms of these products, because they were holders of these NFTs. And like every time they get a new partnership, the holders will get some form of benefit, if it's a discount code, if it's the actual product, if it's merch, from holding that project. And then even like, I think World of Women, they had a gala, and the gala was specifically to holders. So the holders come in and network, and they had speakers at this gala. So really anything that can be experienced by the person can be something that's added as utility to the NFT.
Ooh, that's good. So I'm gonna play a game with you all. So you just think about it for a second. I'm at Abby's daycare, and Alex comes to us and goes, listen, we have a great following. We want to up, up our visibility, and we want to actually get into the metaverse and NFT. How would a company, and anyone can answer this, and you can tell us from your creative mind space, like when you're thinking of an adult daycare center and what their services provide, is this a space? Is the metaverse an appropriate space for this center to grow? Would an NFT mean anything? Or how could a place like Abby's Daycare, or someone who's not in that art space, benefit or create value with these technologies?
There's a few ways. Off the top of my head, I think first of all, NFTs also are going to leave the art space, and they're going to enter different infrastructures like the healthcare system and things like that. And what I mean by that is, a person here mentioned copyright. When you have your own healthcare set up, your own health background information, all that stuff, your own account, all that information, that could be coded into an NFT itself, and that could help people keep their stuff for themselves and not mixed with other people. So basically it keeps their experience individual with them, and it's a way for them to sell their stuff or be taken care of easily, stuff like that. That's one thing that can be done as far as everyone being individualized and having the respective circumstance be represented, but also too, like things fun like bingo night, that's virtual reality or something like that, that could sell NFTs for them at the end of the process, where people that are, say, at Abbey can participate, but then using VR, they can participate in other places. Or if they have another facility somewhere, they can all participate at the same time.
The entire facility comes together.
And then the gifts for winning could be NFTs and also education for NFTs as well. That's one way I think that could quickly get them involved.
Nice, nice. And it goes back to, we would need to be able to manage that, right? So now like this goes to like capital skill. And I'm going to ask this to Don Dada as an artist. I know you say you have a team around you, so you might, you know, this like might not apply to you, but you can tell me if it does. So let's go like, you know, I want to do something like Kaylin just said for my space. Have you ever interacted with your collectors in that way around your NFTs, or like what has been the process as an individual managing that digital space for you? I know you do the augmented reality, so you're in that already. Like, how do you handle the technical parts and technical sides of that art form? You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. Managing the technical side of it, like the utility aspect of it, it's kind of not that difficult. In terms of like, yet from like a coding aspect, like you probably work with a degen to build that out. Or a lot of it is also kind of done through whichever platform that you're minting through. You know, you just kind of enter that info. In terms of like working with your holders, it's also like, it also goes right back to community, right? It's a case where like you and your holders can depending on your project, like if you want to do, let's say for your NFT, say that like they get 50% of a sale. You know, like if you sell prints, like that works to help grow your community. That's a good benefit for your holders. Yeah, it's really, if I think I still understand the question, it's really,
And I want to rephrase that a little bit, right? So we have the benefits in those spaces as well, but tell me a little, like, how would you, so now you already have sold the NFT to your collectors, you know, and now on the technical side, when you go, or like, if you're doing a metaverse art gallery and stuff like that, do you, like, you as an individual artist, have you had to manage that technical space, and have you done it successfully? Or what challenges do you think artists should look out for trying to manage the asset? Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of that side, like I am very hands-on. So to give you context, like for my collectors, I created a group, you know, so everybody who holds a piece, like we put them in that group, that community. Whenever there's major updates, like they find out first, you know, like if doing a show, I'll let them know. If I'm doing a drop, I'll let them know. If I'm doing any updates to like AR for one of their paintings, like I'll let them know. You know, it's really a case of just like keeping open communication with your holders, your community, like make them be a part of that conversation, because they bought into your work. They're buying into you, they're buying into whatever success comes from it. You know, so if it's a case where like they buy it now and you're not that popular, and then 2 years down the road, like you get a major brand deal and you're everywhere, the value of your work goes up, they can flip it. You know, so it's really just keeping them in the loop, keeping open communication, letting them be aware of anything that you're going to do beforehand. So I'm kind of hands-on with that. I'm also a little, for me personally, I'm also a little bit of an introvert, so like talking on a daily basis, that's not me really. So but when needed, like I will step up and play that role, because at the end of the day, like it's your project and it's your face, it's you, so you have to do it.
I like it. So I like what you said. There's creating a group, there's new technology. So like the Discord app is one that
exactly. Discord is a next real popular one that you can grow out your community on.
And it works. If you haven't used Discord before, it works almost like WhatsApp and Facebook, but put into like a group where all the messages aren't there. You can create different channels. You have a server. It's pretty much unlimited, you know, people that can join, and you can actually build your community right through your phone. So you guys can look up the Discord app as a possibility for those. If any of my partners on here, my panelists, know of any other apps that might work really well for building community, because I know we are in that that space of how do we move from newsletters and emails that nobody's getting anymore, you know, because they end up in your promo tab, to like getting back to direct contact to your community. If you know any other apps, you guys can throw them out right now.
Off the top of my head, I just wanted to say that the value for NFTs comes from the in real life incentives mixed with it. So an artist like Don Dada has his project, his art is still the value, but joining that community, what is that community going to get you into? Like she's mentioned, the shirt, getting you to a certain place, or, you know, access to a discount, stuff like that. The value is there for sure. So when real life and the digital verse collide is where we can really take things further and provide value to the NFT holders.
In terms of the apps, the main ones that I know of right now that persons use are Discord and Telegram. You know, in the Caribbean, there are some groups here that will create like WhatsApp groups, but that's just because of, you know, it's what we're used to. But yeah, Discord and Telegram are the two main ones that I'm aware of.
Okay, so Telegram, so that's a new one from, I'm sorry, Kaylin, you were gonna say?
I was just going to say that I said earlier, and she piggybacked off this, Alexia, you know, it's about your intent and your structure. So you have to really structure it before you create your piece. Like she said, it's the piece that you make, but also the utility of it and where it's going to go and the timeline of that and how it could grow in the future, like Donata said. So, you know, it's really like stepping back first and then creating, you know, picking your platform to how you're going to communicate, whether it's Telegram, WhatsApp, email, whatever, and how you're going to base your community. But the real work is when you realize how you want to structure and where you want to go.
So I'm gonna just wrap that up, and then I'm gonna have you all speak a little bit more about your businesses and the services that you provide. So if you're in here, you're just getting your NFT and the metaverse. We said NFT is a digital collectible, so you know you can know the term fungible token, but NFT is essentially a digital collectible. It started in the art world, as Kaylin told us. It's gonna move into healthcare. It's gonna move into spaces, other creative spaces. So it's good to kind of know what you can do now. Alexia let us know that you create benefits around this digital collectible for those actual NFTs that people are using. And Don Dada let us know that you want to get that community that's actually buying into you early all together, so you can make easily accessible communication with them. So we talked about the Discord app. If you've never heard of it, look it up, download it, start a community group as a test. And also, I think we said Telegram. Is that right? Okay, Telegram as an app, which is one I haven't heard of. So these are all new technologies that are moving to the wave of the future. Our new buyers, our new consumers are on these apps and moving. And I think what we're also saying, it's not about having a massive amount of people, as Lexi talked about our goblin project, where people are just speaking like goblins. It's about niching it to a community that really, really believes in what you're doing. And that goes back to Kaylin of Pantheon's point. It's like, what is the intention of this project? Is it just to make money, or on the long term, in the long line, are you building value for that community and that customer that you want to actually get to? So those are things that we want to put out there. So if you could give people three things, and each one you can, like, we're like, what are your first 5 steps of like integrating this? So we know that we need to create a vision for it. So right, my company, we started at the end, we just minted an NFT. And now what? So that is where we are with the project. So if we go like, that is not where you start, you know, where is the first 3 or 4 steps that you need to take to get into the NFT and metaverse? And just to add to that, we did talk about the metaverse using Oculus and like augmented reality goggles to get into there. You do need an entry point to it, but we said, how could you use the metaverse, let's say for an Abby's daycare? The elderly seniors are playing bingo right now. And so we said, hey, if there's other centers, it could be an augmented reality metaverse where other prospective seniors could come in and play bingo, and that could also increase the use of Abby's daycare by other people who are looking for those services. Now, you know, I don't see Grammy on the internet like that, but this is also a way where Grammys and grandpas can actually stay in touch and involved in the new technology. They might feel like it's weird at first, but you'll see like places like Abby's daycare does have an opportunity to keep our elderly up with the newest technology as well. All right, so that's all my spiel here. I want to ask, you can say from your perspective, from brand strategy or from visual artists, or for like artist management and technology, what are those first few steps that we need to take, 3 or 4, 3, to actually get started understanding NFT, integrate into our business, or where we want to go with the metaverse. And Alexia, I'm going to start with you as a brand strategist, the value of that, and maybe the first 3 things people would want to do to start getting themselves prepared to use this technology in their business.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so like if you wanted to give people 3 takeaways, like someone who wants to get into the NFT world, they want to get into the metaverse world, those kind of things, what are like maybe those first 3 things that you would say from brand strategy? What are those things that they should doing to get themselves ready to use this, or moving it to using it in their business to make money?
Yeah, sure. I think the first 3 things, regardless of which segments you're in, would kind of be the same. So one would just be to educate yourself in terms of knowing what this overall thing is, understanding the risk of it all. So regardless of industry, that's just something I always say, like, it's just like stocks. You need to understand your risk that you're playing, even if you're a collector or artist. Then just educating yourself on the different facets of it. So being able to understand a smart contract just for your own knowledge, and then being able to understand gas fees and being able to understand the chains and the tokens being Ethereum or Polygon, and just understanding those even on a 7th grader level. So it just comes back to education, understanding risk. And then the second thing would be to just sit down and map out a plan. Like, it doesn't need to be helter-skelter or fast-paced, but really think, what are you trying to achieve from this? And then reverse engineering your plan to go to market with this NFT or anything, or with this thing. And then the third thing would be like, okay, once you do this, what would be your next steps in it? Which kind of ties back into the second thing in terms of making a plan, but it should never be a one and done aspect of it, but just seeing, how can you build on this? How can you look for partnerships or affiliations with other entities that align with you to do something with them along this line? So you're just looking at other avenues to make money as well. So educate yourself, write a plan, and then look at the longevity of it in terms of next steps. So that would be mine.
I like it. And affiliations. Thank you. I appreciate that. So let's visual artists, Don Dada, like what you've done it from not being involved in it to being involved in it. What were those first 3 steps that you took to actually get yourself involved into after educating yourself, understanding the risks, and getting your affiliations? What were the next 3 steps that you took to actually get into this market?
For me, like it was important to make sure that like your wallet is set up, make sure that you have access to buying crypto. You can't mint if you're not on a marketplace, so that's also important. But I would say that all 3 of those things are like still in that early phase, before you even know what you want mint, you're supposed to have those things set up, it was those things that I think that you should really think about. Your project is also very important. Like your collection. For me, in approaching art, like I think about collections as opposed to like dropping one individual pieces. So I make sure that I have like a complete body of work. I know what I'm trying to say with it, how to communicate that, how to build out that those messagings around it. So I would say that is your next thing. Just like what Alexia said in terms of like your end goal, what are you trying to achieve? All of that comes from the planning phase. So yeah, definitely think about like what are your criteria for success with this project. Yeah, some people, their main aim is really just to make money. But at the end of the day, like if you're trying to build something sustainable, like you can't do it as like a cash grab, so definitely like approach it like that. And your community is the foundation for whatever you're doing. Who are you making works for? Who do you think your collector is going to be? And what would make this valuable for your collector? I mean, like if you never know you, why would you want to buy this piece? Yeah, so all of those things I would say are very crucial to think about, to plan for. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay, so we got, your wallet, access to actually buy, crypto. So those are things you can't mint unless you have the wallet. So make sure you have those. Sorry. And then the project has a collection, that very nice one. So it's like per NFT, but looking at it as a collection, maybe, or a complete body of work might work. And then sustainable, it's a long-term investment. I like that. So we hear about crypto and all, like we're going to make some fast money and get in and get out, but you're hearing it right now that it's a long-term investment. And Kaylin, so we're going from, we have the vision, we have the plan, we have our intention. If you go 3 things next after this, we've learned how to mint, we've learned those things. What are those next 3 things, or 3 things you'd say these are the next steps that you need to take to make this a valuable part of your business?
Bridging the gap. I think bridging the gap between the consumers that have no idea what we're talking about right now, people that aren't in this chat that have no idea that it's going to hit them like a bag of bricks in 2 years or a year or whatever. We want to find those people and we want to engage with them, and we want to, like he said, Bonito, just to kind of like create a community that where it's not a cash grab, but it's also like a open door to join something. For example, me and my Urban Contemporary Experience did a project for Juneteenth where they came to me and they wanted to do, a one-off minting sale. But I told them, in efforts to build and for community and for sustainability, let's create something where patrons can come in, own something like a punch card or a meta card, where they can use that for discounted tickets, things that, like I said, in real life incentives that make them feed their curiosity into NFTs and what digital space is going to be. I think that bridging the gap is the most important part after, because when you do that, you can find new people that may have no idea what we're talking about, but also have been waiting for this their whole lives, to join a community in a new way and to have a new experience involving art or music or any of the other attributes that we can sell digitally.
I love it. I love it. You all, thank you so much for being here with us today. Everyone who logged on, everyone who attended. We were talking about NFTs and the metaverse. We are on the Uptown Avenue 7 corridor. It's between 79th Street and the Golden Glades down Northwest 7th Avenue at Abby's Daycare Center. So we want to make sure this is hosted and sponsored by United Healthcare, and it's presented by the Northwest 7th Avenue CRA. For anyone who logged on, a community redevelopment agency is what a CRA is. They use taxpayers' dollars to help develop businesses in underdeveloped areas. So if you're looking to grow and you're thinking about planning over the next, sustainable 10, 15, 20 years, which is we're hearing like all of these new technologies are investments in long-term growth. You're essentially pioneers in the space. That is what you're doing with CRAs in these areas. You are the pioneers, and those who get in first will get the long-term value there. So I want to just open the floor. We're a little bit over time for a few questions. If anyone from that's online, raise your hand if you have a question for any of our panelists, any questions about Uptown itself. Please let me know. I'm happy to have that. And I would love to also have a word from our sponsor with United Healthcare. So once Ray gets on that camera, if you could just go ahead and sit where Kaylin's sitting, we'd love to go ahead and have a word from our sponsor as well. But in the meantime, while we have Ray up to talk a little bit about United Healthcare and what the service they offer, please do raise your hand or ask your question in the chat. You can ask it to everyone in the meeting, and we will get your questions answered. All right. Hello, Ray. How are you? And you're muted, so if you want to just go ahead and unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you now.
Well, first of all, thank you for having us over. And once again, we're always here behind all the events you always do, because you're always helping the community. And a little bit about United Healthcare. The division that I work with is the Medicare and Retirement Division, which is for people who have Medicare and Medicaid. And we offer different plans for people turning age 65. Now the open enrollment season's coming. So any questions that you have, yes, you have my information, contact me. And basically our main thing is focusing on seniors. And we have other divisions that handle employee benefits, different groups, international. We are number 5 list of company on the Forbes 500. So we have a lot of stability, but our main thing is to support the community, support everything you all do with Muse, at Uptown. And can't wait now to have our event over by the library in maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
looking forward to it. So thank you all. And I've learned sitting here, listening to this, I've learned a lot. So I know I'm going to be following up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ray. And that's with United Healthcare. We're going to go ahead and put his information in the chat. If you have someone who's 65 and older looking for long-term care, you did hear Abby's Daycare. They actually work with long-term care services. If you have Medicare or Medicaid, if you have a family member who might need that service, I know Ray's department is specifically 65, but as Alex told us earlier, different Alex told us earlier from Abby's Daycare, that they can also get long-term care if you have Medicaid for people who have disabilities who may be younger than that age. So make sure, take care of your family and make sure they're good. Alex, I'm going to go ahead. Alex Lee, you have your hand raised. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to unmute. Do you have the ability? Oh, perfect. All right.
Yes.
Introduce yourself. Let us know who you are and go ahead and ask
Okay.
that question. Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks guys for having this. My name is Alex. Coincidentally, my dad is actually the Alex that owns Abby's Adult Daycare.
I love it.
So it's great that you guys are doing that there. That's awesome. But I also relate to kind of the conversation because I am in the middle of bringing to life an NFT project. Our artist will be done in the next 2 weeks with our collection. And then the handoff will come to transferring the files with a full stack developer to be able to actually mint. The question that I have is when you look at the industry and you look at successful projects and you kind of read up on, the phases of those projects, the thing that I'm having a hard time understanding is these projects that are acquiring a lot of capital in their initial seed phases. So their initial token offerings, whatever pitch that they're giving to venture capitalists to acquire 500,000, $1 million, $2 million before the project actually mints. Every venture capitalist that I've spoken with, we have a good project. I feel that I market it very well, and that there's a great opportunity for the public based on what we're offering. But everything that I get back is it's unstable. We don't know where it's going to go. We don't have any faith in this because everything's a pump and dump scheme. So my question is, it almost comes across as like these people have to know somebody with capital that's just gonna, we have guaranteed because we know they're going to pump and dump it. So we'll give them the 500,000 knowing we'll 2x our money regardless if it succeeds or not. And, that's how they're kind of confidently acquiring it. I'm just curious if anyone has a perspective on that.
It's very similar to being an artist on a music label, right? Where you have to die to get a record label deal to qualify for equity or anything like that. And this goes back to what we were saying about community. It's really only as strong as your community. And if you have the community there that proves that data that, okay, this seed fund will equate to this amount of dollars, then the business will endorse you. But the reality is that we're in such a new space and it's so new that you kind of have to build that community first and then bring it to them and say, hey, look, I have done this and I qualify for this. And I'm going to ask for this. I'm going to leverage that for this. And it's very similar to a record label deal or any other deal as an artist. It's kind of, that's why back to what I said about how it's cyclical and it's kind of a loop of what we've done in the past as a humanity. We want to make sure that we have talks like this. And I appreciate your question because that kind of question is important. It shows that there's a pattern in how things are moving. And we have to figure out ways through community to kind of solve those issues for sure. So I would say definitely, having to go through the work, like you can't avoid the work, like Ashley was saying, is really the key.
And I'm going to add to that, Alex. So, what you're hearing is, yes, like we do know, even because when I hear this market, I know the stock market a little bit better. It's like getting on the exchange, to do that is really, really difficult. But to do it in the NFT world, you're there, like you're saying, your initial public offerings, your ITO, all of us can get there. So yes, I do think it has a little bit to do with social capital. And we talk about this in the business as a lot, you know, who you're networking with, who you're talking to. Caitlin's saying as community, but now it's like, who are you in the room with? Are you in the room with all artists, or are you starting to be around investors? And it's like that trust that person has on the golf course or with you, you know, at the poetry lounge, wherever it is that, you know, where the people have an interest in what you're selling, like your NFT, your value. So all the people who actually want that, or like, I care about art, and let's say, you know, I'm a bazillionaire now, and someone who has that art NFT has built a relationship with me, I'm going to bring my friends in for the, you know, for their investment, versus I'm into cars and a person comes to me with art and I'm like, oh, that's great. I have a friend who does that, but you don't know that friend, you know? So that friend, it is that we know the game that we're playing. So all of the business does have to do with that social capital. If we aren't born into those circles, we have to claw our ways into them, or we have to, and I hope what we're looking to do is create them by creating goblin niche communities, by creating people who like exactly, I can't help it with the goblin. It's just hilarious, right? But it's like, it's so specific that like, you got a group that loves to cosplay who's willing to buy it from the ground up, and they've built the value. And now, you know, Facebook wants to buy Instagram, you know, so it's just like, you know, considering that work, you're doing the hard work of building it. And it goes like, now who are you rubbing elbows with? Who are you getting out there and seeing, making sure it's not just behind your computer, making sure it's not just with your developers, but the people who have the money, you know, and where are they sitting? They got to be friends with you a little bit.
Yeah. And to clarify, at least from what I understood from that, is for me, my whole thought process was marketing is like a hype train, right? You kind of want that hype train to lead into the mint process where, you know, everybody's excited, everybody wants to get a part of the action. And really in that marketing phase, you'll kind of understand how big your audience is, what your audience is, and what it is about your project they're excited about. But if you're going to a VC, or if you're going to someone to pitch the idea, you kind of already have to establish some sort of community prior to be able to have some sort of conversation about there being some sort of hype around it. So I guess in a way for me, I shouldn't be worried about holding off the marketing to build some sort of hype behind it. Open up the floodgates now, start kind of building out that community, and it only help the conversation when it comes to if you're looking to acquire additional capital for an IPO.
Absolutely. And it's like doing both at the same time. You're networking with these, you know, the VCs, getting your face seen, you're always in the picture, and your community's building as well. So you can see me growing, you can see it happening, and you can get on it now, or you can keep waiting. You know, if it's $200 million in, now you see what I did, you know, fine, it's going to cost you more money to get it later. But if they see that both are happening while you're, you know, networking, it will happen for you. I think that's all I'll add to it. If my panelists have anything else to add to that, I know that you have like actual like full experience doing this in those spaces. Please do.
I was just gonna say that you know, take advantage of the times. You know, Alex, you know, everything right now is FOMO too. So everyone wants to be a part of different things, especially in this space. So hit the ground running, open up the gates, like you said, and let people come in, and then you just build and build and build, and then that data will pile up and you'll qualify for whatever you want. You just gotta leverage it, you know, the right way.
And I'm gonna ask one last question to, like, because we heard pump and dump. I heard someone say scam before, and I've also heard .com, like bubble. Like, so we've lived through the .com bubble, some of us have. And so a lot of people made a lot of money off the internet when .coms were a thing, before it was super accessible or knowledgeable. And so, you know, our VCs are the general public seeing NFTs as a .com bubble, the crypto market as a .com bust, and that's why it's staying low. Is it going to turn back around? When should we actually start asking those investors to look at us in those ways? So I guess, like, I would love to hear y'all's personal thoughts on any of those. Is this a bubble? Is this a bust? Is this here to stay? And do we care?
In terms of the bubble, people are always going to say that about something that was new. Just like they said for the .com bubble in 1999, and now look at us now. So once something is new, there's always going to be some type of antagonist to say that it's not going to work and not going to continue. But the evidence is there in terms of not just the VC money, but just the application. Like there's so many applications, just NFTs and crypto outside of art. Like there's prop tech, there's insurance, there's so many things that, you know, we haven't even covered in this. But just something for Alex's point, because I know that there are a lot of projects that do get VC funding before they go to market, but another great way to go to anybody, regardless of VCs, is to do something and just have the proof of work as well, to go with them to say, I did this, because they cannot give you anything. They can't really refute what you're saying when you have like the actual proof in terms of the data. And I know that's easier said than done because you need the money to do things. But when you go to that in terms of proof of concept, it's so much easier to sell. Just speaking from me constantly selling like augmented reality and the things that I do with Bonito, because of course we're from Jamaica, it's a small place, and we're actively going after bigger brands and just like these 6-figure brand partnerships and stuff like that. But we know that the page is small because I understand data and I understand, like, from working from an agency, like what brands and these C-suite level people are looking for. And they want that credibility. They want that credibility when they're investing, when they're spending their money, in terms of the ROI, which is the return on investment for anybody else on the call. So it's just kind of finding ways to just build your credibility outside of that white paper or outside of that pitch deck, to just give yourself more leverage. And then another thing, which we're not talking about here, is that people do business with who they know, like, and trust. So just like what Ashley was mentioning, is that you need to get into those spaces in terms of networking and become friends and colleagues with these people that you're trying to work with and get money from. Because the big business happens at dinner, it happens at the bar, it happens at the meeting. And I know that's things we don't like to say, but it's true. And it's to take advantage of those spaces. So, you know, there's all of these conferences happening, you know, just taking a bit of time to invest, to go to these things and network and meet these people. And then it's kind of a better foot in the door in terms of VC funding as well. But I would say any resources, I know there are a lot of VCs now that are looking for minorities in terms of investing as well. So you've probably done that already, but this is just me going off of my experiences. So I hope it helps.
Thank you all so much for being here. Again, we're here with Uptown Avenue 7, Northwest 7th Avenue CRA, talking about the NFT and the metaverse. For people who logged in, we saw that the questions end up where business always ends up. We are saying that it's all of the things that we have to do for business are still things that we have to do, no matter what, whether we're in new technology or not. I want to thank our panelists, Alexia, Dandada, Kaylin of Pantheon Group. If you all could just put your information in the chat, they have services that can serve you all. So definitely take advantage of that as well. Sorry, I got a little charge here with my battery. So I just want to remind everyone that we have 3 more of these events. We want to thank Abby's Daycare Center for hosting us today. We truly appreciate your time. Anyone in person, please have a coffee or donut. I also want to say thank you to the Uptown Festival staff that's here. So all of their contacts are in the chat. So if you have more questions about this, they can help you with that. And then I just want to remind everyone that why we're here doing this is to develop our space. So we go 30-year plans are always there for urban planning, and CRAs are becoming a huge part of that plan because they're putting money into the community. They're investing in developing areas that are undeveloped right now. So if you want to be a pioneer in space, we're asking you to look at Northwest 7th Avenue as a space for you to do that. I'm going to go back to my slide just to share this one more time with you all. I don't know what just happened. Oh, my chat showed up. And I just want to make sure that you have the flyer for our upcoming festival. So November 12th at Arcola Lakes Plaza, we will have the Free Arts and Culture Festival. So we're online and we're showing you bits and pieces of events that are happening on Northwest 7th Avenue. If you want to see the corridor in action, this is how you're going to do it. And this is how you're going to see it. You're going to see the businesses come out. We're looking to have some of this virtual content so that you can explore the future of Uptown as well. We're going to have main performances with great people. We're going to have live karaoke as well and a cash prize for that. So make sure you go to uptownavenue7.com to RSVP for the ticket, look at some of the offerings that we have. And I want to thank everyone for being here today. That is all we have for now. This session has been recorded. So if you would like the recording, you can email us to receive that. I'm going to put Natasha's email in. Oh, perfect. And Caitlin, you can talk directly. Natasha's email at me305 in the chat so she can actually get that to you. We are looking for volunteers for the festival as well. So if you're interested in volunteering, if you're interested in sponsoring an event, we have those things available to you. Thank you for everyone tuning in. I'll be here for just a moment more. If there's other questions or people want to network or socialize, we are now in the gallery. I'm going to stop recording here.